and welcome back to my channel, Budgeting with Allie. I hope you enjoyed my introduction, and if you didn't, I don't blame you. It was a little bit rambly. So I did mention in my intro that I would be doing a debt confession, even though looking at one of my loans does make me quite discouraged, but you guys deserve to know how much I am in debt and how much I'm looking to pay off. I will warn you, it is quite a bit. I don't have any credit card debt. I do have a credit card, but I use it more as a debit card than a credit card because I do have limited transactions on my debit card, so that's kind of a way to get around it. It's always paid off every month, and because of that, I've never accrued interest, thankfully. What I do have is 6 years worth of student loan debt. I didn't really have enough ever to pay much towards my education, so student loans was the only way I was able to really pay. And I know now that's kind of silly because now I'm paying back these loans and it's going to take me not as long as the student loan website believes it will be, because that's 9.5 years, but it's certainly going to take longer than I would like. So I guess there's nothing for it but to just dive right in. So starting out, in November, when my grace period ended, because you do have 6 months after you leave school to start paying on your loan, which is nice, and I did take advantage of it because I didn't have a job at that point, so I didn't have any income coming in, and I honestly couldn't afford to pay on it. But that did mean that I have a little bit more debt because it was gathering interest during that period. Both of them were gathering interest during that period, so it was a little more than it would have been if I would have been able to start paying it right as soon as I graduated. So it started at $54,270.30, and that is both of the loans combined. I did write out all of the headings beforehand because my writing is very messy unless I focus, and if I focus, this video was going to be much longer than it needed to be. So if you're wondering why I didn't write it out with you guys on camera, that's why. And now I'm just kind of trying to distract myself from that number because it is high. And it didn't help that I did spend 6 years in university, which is typically more expensive than college, but in Canada, colleges tend to be more trades-based or like nursing degrees, security, stuff like that, whereas universities is more of the academic, and I was always more academic. So I thought going to university would be great. Now I'm not regretting that per se, but definitely wishing I could have found another way to pay for it. As of today, it now sits at a total of $50,489.84. So as you can tell, I've almost knocked out $4,000 from November onwards. Which is good, but still I'd like to see that number be much farther down than what it is. So, as I mentioned, in Canada, you typically, if you're getting a student loan, you do get a provincial loan and a federal loan. The federal loan tends to be larger, whereas the provincial loan is typically smaller, and I was lucky $10,000 of my provincial loan was forgiven, so that means I don't have to pay it back, which I'm very thankful for because this number would be even worse, and I'm all for not having to pay some money back. And another thing is that I did get grants when I applied for my student loans every year. So those were typically, I want to say $2,000 to $3,000. And again, that's money that I was given. I didn't have to pay it off. It wasn't included in my loan amount. But I just thought I'd let you know that I did receive that. So I probably paid more like $60,000 to $70,000 to go to school. But because of the forgiveness and the grants I received, I was able to come out of school with only this amount of debt. So for my provincial loan, it is because I live and file taxes in my home province, which is where I applied to get the provincial loan. It is a 0% interest. I do have to renew that every year, but it's as simple as a checkbox. And again, that's only because I am living and filing taxes in my province. If I moved away, I would have to start paying interest, which was typically around $30 a month. So my loan for the province started out at $10,111. The minimum payment is $107.71. And again, they're saying that if I made the minimum payments, it'll take me, I think, 9.5 years or something to pay off. But of course, I'm not making minimum payments. I am using the debt snowball method and putting as much extra money towards this debt as I possibly can, which is how I was able to get it down from November to $7,783.51. Which is a nice number. I like going on every month I like going on after I've made my additional payments and seeing this number go down slowly but surely. It definitely gives me a boost when I'm having a bad day. So altogether, since the loan began being collected in November, I have paid $2,327.49. Since January, I have paid $1,967.85. And you'll know if you've watched my introduction video that one of my goals for this 2019 year is to pay off $4,000 of student loan debt. So as you can tell, I'm already quite close to meeting the halfway goal just with my provincial loan alone. So, I mean, that number makes me feel great because it definitely makes me feel like I've set a reasonable goal and one that I can meet and exceed. And hopefully I'll be able to set another goal and exceed that amount as well. So, I'm doing really, really well. I would like to see more money going towards my debt, so that I can say at Christmas this number is much, much lower. We'll see how that goes as I've started actually being tougher on my debt and my budget in general. So that one actually makes me feel good about myself. Let's get to the one that is slightly disappointing to look at. Unfortunately, this one does have interest. Let me just move this up here, make sure you guys can see. So this debt does have interest. It's a 6.45% interest rate, which equals out to roughly $235 in interest in 1 month. And that means that my minimum payment, which is only $513.53, just over half of this payment, or just under half, sorry, goes towards the interest alone. So when you see my totals paid for this one, it's definitely much lower than I would like. But when half of it is in interest, it's hard to get some momentum, which is why I'm going full steam ahead on this provincial loan so that I can take this minimum payment, combine it with this minimum payment, and any extra I can throw at it, and hopefully that'll take care of the interest every month at least, so that I can put this entire payment towards the principal, and then we can finally see some movement. So this loan started at $44,159.30. Yikes. If I could have this money in cash, I would be set. But unfortunately, that's debt. So it is what it is. I just need to work on paying it off. It now is $42,706.33, which, again, is quite high. It's disappointing. I wish that number would come down faster, much like this one has. But it's just not possible right now because I want to get this one paid off first so I can start putting more money towards this. So that's another reason I'm hoping that I can get this paid off sooner rather than later, so I can move all the money that I've been paying towards this and see this number decline much quicker than what it is currently, because I try and avoid that portal. I hadn't been on that portal since, well, I guess it would have been March, but that was only to get my tax forms. So I haven't been on since I looked at this number for you guys, other than to get my tax form, in several months, because I was just avoiding the fact that my loan was still that high. So the total I've paid since it came due without the interest, because of course it's not being reflected in this because it is being paid every month, is $1,452.97. The total I've paid since January is $852.33, which, yeah, I don't like that number. I want it to change, but it's not going to change until this provincial loan is taken care of and I can dedicate more money to my federal loan and getting that paid off. I do use, I believe it's called the Debt Reduction Calculator by Vertex. I'll find the link and post it in the description below. But what it does is you can choose which debt payoff method you're using, Avalanche or Snowball. Put in what you owe, put in the interest rates, and it'll calculate how long it takes to pay that off. It also creates a spreadsheet and another worksheet in the same Excel file where you can put in any additional payments that you make, your snowball payments, things like that, and it will readjust the date to tell you how long it's going to take to pay off the debt. Right now, I believe this one, it's saying that it'll take me until April 2022 to pay off, although I hope not, and I'm sure I will have this paid off next year around tax time, as long as my refund is as good as my tax person said it was supposed to be next year. And I'm hoping that that tax refund can wipe out the rest of this debt and pay some towards this, because this loan that spreadsheet is saying it's not going to be paid until sometime in 2026. And in 2026, I will be 32. And guys, I do not want to be 32 and have been paying on this debt for 8 or 9 years and just beat the 9.5 years that the student loan website told me it would take to pay off this debt. I want to pay this off in 5 years. And I think that's doable if my tax refunds continue to be what they should be, because then in 2020 this debt's gone, and then I can tackle this debt with a lot more funds, and hopefully I can knock way more down way more quickly so that I can get on to living my debt-free life. So that is my debt confession. It's gonna take me a while. I hope you guys stick with me, and I hope that I will have something to celebrate with you in the coming months by meeting my goal for the $4,000 and setting a new goal, because that means I'm that much closer to having paid off this debt. If you liked this video and you want to learn more about my debt-free journey, please make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification symbol thingy, and like this video. Bye! Hope to see you later!